there's so many nonprofits and organizations you could be serving with or for. Why Generation Distinct?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, we've got sons who are in this age group, and amazingly, our oldest son is the same age that I was when I got married. Do you realize that? He's 24. It's like crazy. Like snap and it's gone. But in my 20s, I was an atheist. But I thought I had all the answers. I really bought into what the world was selling at that time. I mean, I bought in hook, line, and sinker, and I thought I had all the answers, and I found myself very empty and very lost. And actually, we both did really, and came to Christ together, which was very cool. Well, you came back to Christ, I came to Christ. And we're saved. But so my heart goes out to this generation. I know what that's like. Your 20s is just a sort of floating time where you're out of school and you should know what's going on, but you don't really know as much as you think you know. And I just see the world selling so many lies to this generation. And my heart is just breaking with the amount of anxiety and depression. I'm just hearing that not only from my own kids and their friends, but just from other young people that I know in the generation. And it's just heartbreaking. We're very concerned about it. But I also see in this generation so much potential. And I just don't want that potential to be poisoned by the culture. I want that potential to be used for God's purposes. And so I can't think of a better organization to devote our time to than Generation Distinct. I think this is so pivotal. And these are young leaders. I mean, when you think about exponential impact, right? One leader, how many lives does one leader affect? And so if we can help these young leaders tap into that passion, tap into that potential, and use it to serve the Lord, the ripple effect is just astounding. So it's such a worthwhile place to be.
And you not only give your time serving as our board president, but you lead the way in partnering with us financially as well, and we're so honored and appreciative of that. What kind of transformation have you seen that's really touched you, that inspires your giving and year after year contribution and faithful giving?
You know what, it's like a journey that the stories that you hear. And I just love these stories. And it's over and over again where you'll hear somebody coming through a cohort or even just in conversation in the community. And they talk about, they grew up in church and their parents had a game plan, right? And they sort of turned away from that game plan and started walking down a different path. And it's amazing because I see Generation Distinct almost like this covered bridge experience or something, like the gauntlet, right? Like you go through this community, and as they're coming through this community, they come out right into the arms of Christ. And that story is not any one person's story. That story is just repeated over and over again as young folks come in and get involved in Generation Distinct. And so that's just such a beautiful thing. And I envision it every time I hear Hannah interviewing somebody or somebody giving us a quote or a testimonial, and I just think such a beautiful thing. And I want that for my children, and I want that for the children of my friends, and I want that for this generation. So it's worth the time investment and it's worth the money investment, because I know that that's what, a few dollars and somebody ends up in the arm of Christ is like, angels are singing. That's something to celebrate.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, clap for that. Come on now. That's so good. Being our board president and serving in that capacity and knowing about investment, you've seen us up close and personal. You keep us in check. We're not just a bunch of young folks running around with money.
Yeah, they're adults watching.
Yeah, but you've seen us up close. We, as an organization, are transparent about how we steward our money and how we give the most back with the investment that you guys are sowing into for young folks. That being said, what would you share with our guests here today about the quality of that. Not that we're looking for, hard bottom line kind of numbers. I mean, if you want that, we can probably offer that for you.
We
But
have a spreadsheet.
yeah, we do. But the quality of the investment, right? Like, as someone who sees us day in and day out, what would you say to that kind of that area? Like, if somebody's giving tonight, can they feel confident with how we steward our money?
It's such an important question. And that actually, when Gene and I do look at organizations to give, that is something you want to know, like, is the money being stewarded well? I'm going to start actually at the top with Hannah. And I will just tell you, as I mentioned, I work in corporate America. I work in leadership development. I have seen all kinds of leaders for 30 years. Hannah's a once in a lifetime. I'm just going to tell you right now. I use the word anointed. Sometimes I'm kind of laughing. I joked about, like, the adults. I mean, so honestly, as a board, there are some times where we'll say, hey, well, what about this? And then Hannah will say, well, here are the 16 reasons why we thought of that before, and it's not going to work. She and her staff are incredible. But Hannah has the ability, it's an ability to deal with vision and execution, right? There are leaders who are really good at vision, and they can set people on a path, they can motivate, they can inspire, and they typically are not very good at execution. There's usually a COO kind of comes in behind and goes, oh, that was lovely, thank you. Now I'll go figure out how the organization's going to do this. Hannah has that ability to not only cast the vision, but to help execute that vision. And I think that is just such a gift that she brings to this organization. The other thing that I will tell you is that the first few years of this organization, Hannah focused on culture. And I think that's extraordinary. I just want to give you this perspective. When I say a few years ago when Hannah started this, remember, she was 20, right? I'm working with leaders now who are 60, and I'm trying to explain to them that culture is, if it's not there, all of that dreaming and execution isn't going to happen. But Hannah knew just instinctively, and she created this amazing culture. I mean, it is the healthiest thing I have ever seen. Her staff, now to kind of bring it to the staff, her staff, it's the envy. It's the envy. I talk to other people in other ministries, and they're just, how do you get people to stay, and how do you get people to commit so much time? And people come and they go, and they don't do what they're going to say they're going to do. And I'm just sort of smiling, like, well, maybe you need to talk to Hannah, because we don't have that problem. We have a dedicated staff. What this organization has accomplished has been with one full, paid staffer, and then it's volunteers who are just so loyal and so committed to this. And it's because of that culture, that intentionality around making sure that people are valued and seen and known, and that instead of giving them just a job description, Hannah spends time with them and figures out what is your gifting, and then puts them on a path to be able to use that gifting to contribute. So it's just amazing, the integrity and the care and the compassion. It's incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would just say if you want to have a deeper conversation with Hannah, I'm volunteering her. She would love to grab coffee with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of future, I love talking about this. I could do this all day and all night, but the future of Generation Distinct, right? You've seen our presentations, you've seen what we're working on behind the scenes. There's a lot going on. We have a lot of visions. What excites you the most about where we're headed? And yeah, what if you can give me a couple of things that would just this? I'm fired up about this. Yeah,
what I'm fired up about. All the folks who go through the cohort come out with a world change strategy, and I am one of the most pragmatic people ever. I just like practical. I like, how do we apply it? What's going to happen? What's the outcome? What are the results? And so I'm so excited to see those world change strategies come to life. So that's really one of the things that excites me the most, because that's really where the rubber hits the road, right? Is that they come out, they are on fire for Christ, they are recognizing how God designed them for a specific purpose, and now we're equipping them. See, there's that word, equip. That's why I'm aligned. So we're equipping them and then putting the community around them and the resources. So the things that excite me are, I just imagine, like maybe we'll have some kind of an incubator at some point, and we'll be able to actually fund some of these strategies. Like that really excites me. I can't wait to hear those stories of, we're hearing the stories now of them coming through the cohort and the transformation in the individual. I'm so excited now because now these transformations are starting projects, and these individuals are now going out and they're having that ripple effect. So I'm excited that when we sit here, in the future, we're just going to have all these stories of, and then this happened, and then, that outcome is fantastic. The other thing I will tell all of you that is just the coolest thing is this group is so innovative. It's amazing. I actually use them when I'm like trying to coach organization. I'm like, this is what agility looks like. This is what innovation looks like. It's like you don't lose your core, but you die to a darling, right? You try something. If that didn't work, you're going to let that go. You're going to try something else. And I hear at the end of every cohort, they get together. I don't know what the magic sauce is or where it happens, right? I don't know where this goes. But there's a conversation. They figure it out. They make an adjustment. And the next thing I know, there's like, well, now we're doing this, or and it's just so cool to watch all those innovations happen and just to continuously improve. And I never hear this, well, this is the way we've always done it, right? There's none of that. It's like, this is good, it's working, this needs to change, and I'm watching this innovation and the creativity. And so it's like Christmas, every board meeting. Like, what are they doing now? So that's what gets me excited.
Love it. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you.